Is it that better?
No.
Yes. So we evidently it looks like we are broadcasting live. We have sound, so we're all set. Good morning, everyone, or wherever you happen to be in the world. Maybe it's not morning. I'm not sure,
But it's still good.
It's still good. Yes, that's right. It certainly is good here. No doubt about that. We got about 70 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning. I like it. So, for those of you that are brand new, we are going to be doing our LTS live training session, and we're going to be doing a couple demos. Dad's going to talk first about an issue, and then I'm going to fire up the router and do a little demo. Then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So, a disclaimer, normally when we do this, if we lose our signal on Facebook, then this thing is also being filmed, so we'll post it onto YouTube, generally within a day or two, but not this week. Vicki and I are leaving for California right after we get done here, so the YouTube version of this will not be on until later in the week.
Yeah, we've got two cameras set up. We've got the camera that's broadcasting live and then our video camera. So if you see me or see us switching over, we'll be looking from one camera to the other. That's the reason that we're not shifty. We're just shifty-eyed, that's all.
We got folks from England and Sweden joining us.
Oh, terrific. International audience. I love it. That's great. So we are, gosh, what else is going on that we need to talk about?
Last 2 months?
Yeah, by the way, this is the last LTS for the year. In November, December, we don't do live training sessions. There'll be plenty of videos, and we may be doing
still continue making videos and posting them.
Absolutely, and we may be doing some live stuff like a live phone call, live questions kind of thing. It just won't be an LTS the last Saturday of the month. That will we'll do that again in the last Saturday in January, if everything goes according to plan.
And a fly flying around.
Yeah, I saw that. I think he likes you better than he likes me. Let's see. Nope, I guess not. I missed him.
You don't got him.
I didn't get him that time. I don't think I did.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Dad's getting him. So, obviously.
DC, British Columbia. Quit.
Uh-oh. I did it, didn't I?
You did.
See, I was going to see if you were going to check. And
What?
Well,
he pounds on the table.
Vicki hates it when I pound on the table. It's a nervous tick that I have.
Don't pound on the table.
Well, but I caught her doing it the other day. Anyway, she won't admit it, but she did. Anyway, all right. So let's get into it, Dad.
Yeah, I'm gonna. We get a lot of questions on different subjects, and I've had over the years. I've had a couple of questions from people wanting to know if it's all right to use pressure treated wood for signs, and my one word answer is no. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. Now, if you have a computer, go on Google and do a search for pressure treated wood, and you will find all of the specs on what they use for pressure treating wood and how they the different chemicals that are used. But I said the word is no, but I use it. But I don't use it for signs. If I'm building something that's going to be sitting on the ground, that's what pressure treated wood is for. Right now I'm building some solar arrays, and I'm using pressure treated wood. But Vicki, can you get in on that?
Yep.
On the end grain on that, and just get to show you. Now they're different, and I think California has a different specification for pressure treated wood. Maybe they use a different chemical. I don't know. They use ground up liberal stuff over there, so I never know what it is. But as you can see on the surface of this, there's a lot of little indentations that they use when they put that pressure treated chemical in there. And to begin with, you'd have to plane all that off before you could ever use this piece of wood for a sign. And then number two, 8-foot piece of this stuff cost about $9. This is 2 by 6. It costs about $9, which is not too bad, but you can get unpressure treated for about $5. So it's I just wouldn't use pressure treated wood. Now, if you plane this off, if you do any kind of carving on it, the sawdust that comes off of this has the chemical in it. And if you're going to do it, be sure you use a respirator, because breathing in the chemical that they use to pressure treat this wood is like a copper composition of some kind, and it really is not good to breathe in. So I don't use it, so I don't use a mask. But if I did, I definitely would on this. Occasionally, if I'm cutting a lot of it at one time for something I'm building, I'll put a respirator on when I'm cutting it with a saw, because my saw throws out a lot of sawdust. So, in a word, to make a long story short, and it's far too late for that. To make a long story short, we don't recommend using pressure-treated wood for signs, just because there's too many variables involved in it. We just don't think it's safe. So.
Well, and and to interject a little bit more on that, because it's pressure treated, you don't really know unless you go on and check specifically what kind of wood it is. Like I would assume that's probably a Douglas fir or something like that. Generally speaking, if it's pressure treated, it's being used in construction, and it's not necessarily good material anyway. You can see that's got a big old knot right in the middle of it, and you wouldn't want to probably make a sign out of that anyway. The perforations on it means you got to get so much off of it, and the pressure treating really doesn't do anything for you anyway. You still got to put a finish on it. So it just doesn't, it's just more hassle, and it just doesn't make sense from a...
Yeah, the only exception to that is if you're going to take letters, just loose letters, and glue them on to a piece of pressure treated wood, if it's going outside. If you're going to glue the letters on and make what we call an overlay sign, that would be perfectly acceptable. And then you could use it outside however you want, and it probably lasts, 10 times longer than untreated wood. But that's the only way that I would use it for a sign. If I'm going to take individual letters and attach them to the board and make a sign that way, then I would use pressure treated wood. But other than that, for carving, I wouldn't use it at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Long story short,
Yeah.
Too late.
Well, you got that done quick. So that gives me plenty of time to do my my demo, and then we'll come on at the end. Are we getting some viewers and people chiming in? And good. So, like I mentioned, Vic and I will be on the road shortly after we're done here, and but I'll be able to check Facebook from California. We're going over to California.
Can I go?
Can you go to California with us?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Somebody's
got to stay here.
Stay home again? Alone?
Yeah, alone, all by yourself.
I love it.
Somebody's got to
Hi,
stay here
Diana.
and work. Diana
Hi, Brad.
from Australia. Yeah.
I love just staying home, staying on my property. I don't go no place if I don't have to.
It's like a little vacation for him.
When we're gone, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Get out of the way. I gotta
All right.
fire up the router.
I'll get out of here. I'll be back though.
Okay. All right. So,
Be back in 25 minutes. Yep.
what I'm gonna
Stop
do?
pounding. You're shaking.
I didn't pound.
You did pound.
I just tapped.
You guys tell him to stop pounding.
Okay. What I'm gonna do? Gosh, this is tough. Is kind of in relation to a video that I did the other day where I was doing some little half-inch letters. We posted this like 3 or 4 days ago, early in the week, I think. And in regards to this, in regards to this, and actually a live phone call that I did with, gosh, who was that? Jeremy and Kelly, I think. Mm-hmm. Where we were talking about, he had a big, huge commercial sign that he donated in order to do a collaboration to get some exposure, and I mentioned to him that he might want to, put his name on the front of the sign somehow. So I got several requests that, hey, can you do a demo on that? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to carve some little half-inch letters, and these are the same font as that. They are the little half-inch Bookman letters. which we don't have on the website, but Vicky can make them.
Rachel can make them.
Well, somebody can make them. Somebody other than me. I carve them. I don't make them. Anyway, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I made a little plaque that I would use in conjunction with making a big, let's say this is going on a big 4 foot by 4 foot sign. Then I would leave a little room. If I wasn't going to put it directly on the sign, I would leave a little room to make a little plaque like this. Now I just took a piece of redwood, a little piece of redwood. I planed it down with my thickness planer down to less than half inch. I think it's about 3/16, or excuse me, 3/8, and did the layout on it. I could have done the layout on camera, but I wanted to leave plenty of room. I want to do this complete. I haven't done another one. I'm going to actually do this complete right now. So let's get into this. Let me move my water. So if you have questions in regards to this or anything else, at the end we'll do a Q&A. So I'm going to use on this one, when I did this, I used the SC50, the profile bit, and the 60. I kind of like the profile bit the best for these little letters. If I was going smaller, then I might use the SC50. But on this, I'm gonna use the profile bit, and I'll show you that in just a second here. Clamp up my deal there. Take off my hat. Get my cheaters on. So I hope everybody's having a good Saturday out there. It's gorgeous here. Now, okay, so I better, just in case, for brand new people, this is our profile bit. And then on the layout on this, you can see I didn't use an actual apostrophe. I just left a spot where I'm going to put the apostrophe. And if you look real close, I'm not sure whether you'll see it, but I drew lines top and bottom of all the letters. I put a yardstick on there and drew a pencil line at the bottom and the top of all the letters. I do that. Dad taught me to do that way back when I started doing this. That it just gives you a little extra context of where the bottom and the top of the letters are, in case when you're doing the layout one of them moves slightly. And on these letters, by the way, you really have to have a light touch with the spray can because they want to fly on you really bad. So anyway, we got everything there, babe? All right, so let's see. I think I've got the router set right. You've got vision and the cord is pointed toward me, so I did that correctly. Let's get into this and see if I can carve these little things. Now, here's another thing. If I was doing a lot of these, I would probably make a board with a cavity in it just the size of this to set, so that when I got out to the edge, the underneath the base would be supported. I don't really need that. It's not that small, but that's a way that you can basically make a jig. If you're making a bunch of small stuff, make a jig. If I was doing a dozen of these, it would make sense to make a jig for this to set into a cavity so that it's supported out here if it tends to tip on you.
Mac McCune. Hi, Alvin.
Hey, Mac. Tell Whitney we said howdy. All right, here we go. I don't know if my depth is set correctly or not. It looks a little deep. cramping a little bit. Let's brush that off.
Sorry if I'm shaky. I know somebody said something about me being shaky. I'm running 2 cameras going back and forth.
And I said earlier that this was redwood. It is definitely not redwood, as Vicki will attest to because you can smell it.
Yeah.
It's definitely cedar. But sometimes the grain is so close on the redwood and the cedar that I can't really tell until I get to cutting it.
What happened?
What's the matter? We lose our signal?
No. I told you Facebook made some changes.
Uh-huh.
Well, I just did something that made a change again.
Uh-oh. I got to touch this up just a hair here. I'm going to back the depth off just a little bit.
There's all these things.
Turn sideways?
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of confusing. And you don't know how you did it?
I don't know what happened.
Don't know how that happened, huh? No. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going here while Vicki struggles with her end of it. So
I don't know what happened.
So what I've done here, am I talking loud?
No, I'm trying not to cuss.
Oh. Is you can go the old traditional way of using parentheses here and then dashes, and you can do that. I didn't want to do it.
Sorry.
I just went with dots.
It turned on me. I don't know what the heck happened.
Well, fortunately, within a week or so, you'll see this on YouTube if it's looking kind of goofy on Facebook.
I turned it went sideways on me. Somebody tell me how to fix this.
Somebody call Facebook 911, huh?
Yeah. I don't know why. It just...
Is it like I've turned sideways and I can't get up kind of thing? All right. So I am going to spray this. Put my glove on because I don't want to spray my hand black.
Oh my gosh.
And then I just saw a flash there for a second. So, I don't know. Do you need to adjust this camera if I lift this up?
Rotation locked. Need to unlock it. How do I unlock it?
Alright. Maybe this will show.
Well...
I'm sorry, do you mind messing
No,
up?
I'm just trying to do both cameras and I'm not getting everything on the other one, so...
I'm sorry. Hang on, guys. You want me to
no,
stop?
just keep doing what you're doing. I'll figure it out. Alright, Marcos, how do I unlock my rotation? Otherwise, I'm going to be standing here holding this thing all day.
So you want to have a real light touch with this spray can, guys. That's all I'm going to do. So
yes,
now,
it is an iPhone. Go ahead, just keep talking.
So I'm just going to let that dry. Then we will sand it off. See what it looks like. So
Wipe the top.
This font is Bookman. it's a form of Bookman. There's a lot of different Bookman fonts, but this is the one that we use, and we've got all different kinds, sizes of it. I wonder how long that's going to take to dry.
All right, guys, I'm sorry, but I'll just have to hold it.
Oh man, you can't get it to
I
switch
don't
around.
know what happened.
So somehow the picture flipped on you?
Yep.
Is that what it was? Oh man.
So don't bounce around and don't move stuff around.
Okay, no bouncing, no moving. Gotcha. As I'm moving. Let me get the router out of the way because we're going to be doing some sanding here in a minute. That thing is,
this way.
we're still doing pretty good on time. Shoot. Is there any questions in regards?
I don't know. They're probably getting dizzy.
Sorry, guys.
Go, just keep going.
Okay, so Bookman font. Again, I'm going to kind of answer some questions here. Oh, I'm sure somebody is going to want to know how deep my router is. So let me, how deep that router bit is. As many of you know, if you watch very often, I go more by width of the cut than the depth. But to answer your question, let me see here. I'm going to use my router bit depth gauge. I am at about 1/8 of an inch. That's about what I cut those at about 1/8 of an inch. So that this is a router bit depth gauge that we have, and actually it's kind of handy. I don't use it very much because I go by the width of the cut, but it's about 1/8 of an inch deep.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a favor. Don't move. That camera is set.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Okay, so because you have to hold that rather than using the
now,
tripod. Wow. Okay, so I will do everything right in front of this camera then, so you don't have to mess with it. Is that camera to the point? Fine. Is it showing the bench though,
yes,
by sand right here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that will be dry in just a minute. I am going to accelerate the drying process here. By the way, guys, in case you're wondering, this rubber pad that I started using...
I'm supposed to stand up or bounce around. Hold on.
Well, it's fine if you stay there. I'm not bouncing. Was I bouncing? Sorry. I'm getting the stink eye. All right. I'm going to use my little vacuum here. Oh, by the way, right after... this goes on Facebook. Within a few minutes, we will have a YouTube video that shows. It shows me actually carving the template of the month for November. That's pretty dry. I could have sprayed that a little bit heavier. Now let's see how it comes out. Dang. I had a bunch of stuff that came out of there. I got to respray that, guys. I thought I brushed that real good. But now I'm seeing a bunch of stuff that didn't come out. So I am going to...
Let's see.
Huh?
Let's see it.
Right there.
So where's the stuff?
Well, you can see that it's white down in there. So what happened was I brushed it, but I didn't blow it out good enough. So now I'm going to brush it real good to get all the loose stuff out of there. And I got in a hurry. Now I'm going to blow it out. Now I really got to have a light touch that I don't overspray. I think that camera can see me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can dry this pretty fast.
Suggestions. If I turn the phone sideways, you guys are gonna see sideways. Is that sideways for everybody? All right, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stop the feed and restart it. So bear with me, you guys.
Okay, we got time. All right, so sorry about that interruption, you guys. We're having some technical difficulties on our Facebook Live broadcast. It appears we may have them worked out. We're not sure yet. But we had to shut the camera off here as well so Vicky could deal with the Facebook Live thing. But anyway, our sign is pretty much dry now. I'm going to go ahead and sand it off. And oh, by the way, this is what I used for spray. It's the Rust-Oleum primer. I use this or the Marsh ink for people that want to know. I don't use paint because it tends to have bleeding issues. All right. So, and again, I was about to say that the more I use this rubber pad, and I still am using my original one, I still have the rest of the roll left over that I haven't even used yet. I think I'll probably be using this piece for another 6 months maybe. It gets little scars in it, but here's one thing that is really cool about this. Normally, in order to sand this off, you guys know I would use my big sanding board and clamp it into place. Well, this stuff, hopefully, if I don't mess this up, this stuff allows me not to have to use that. I'm not going to do the back. I'm just going to do the front. It grips so well, so let's see if it does. By the way, in case it doesn't, it'll throw it to that side of the room. I'll just go pick it up and then we'll put it, we'll figure out something else. Woo! Moving on me. So when I did this with a little bit bigger piece, it gripped. Now this is the smallest one I've ever done. Let's see if this. You know what I'll do. I love working on the fly. So let's see if it does fly, it won't fly very far. Anyway, so it made a liar out of me, of course. So small pieces like that, you just want to have something to sand against. Anyway, that's the way it came out. I'm kind of happy with that. I don't have any place to put it. I guess I'll maybe put it on the outside of the studio or something, in case somebody needs to give me a call. But anyway, oh yeah, that's another thing that I was going to talk about. What do you put on it? As far as I'm concerned, I think that is enough that people can get a hold of you. Put your cell number, put your phone number. You could put a lot more information on there. You could put your address or your website or all of that. For me, if I was doing it and I was selling signs, doing a collaboration with a restaurant sign or something like that, I think something like this is perfectly acceptable and all you really need for people to get a hold of you. I don't think that you have to put made by. I thought about that. I thought about, well, made by or constructed by. So as far as I'm concerned, that would be plenty good enough to put on a big commercial sign that you can hopefully get some feedback and get some business from. So if we have questions, Vicky just left the room and I'm all by myself. So the cameras are broadcasting. Obviously, this isn't a big, high production, high budget operation we got here. But I will tell you that even though that was sliding on me, dang flies, the heavier boards, in fact, you're going to see posted on YouTube here in just a little while. Got him. Sorry. I did. I got him. You missed it. I got the fly. Yeah. Took him right out of the air. Anyway, I amuse myself so easily. Anyway, you'll see on the video that I'm going to post just within a matter of a few minutes that after this broadcast is over, that I actually sampled a sign, a small board, and I'll show you here in a second. This is the template of the month. It's a little cornucopia for Thanksgiving, fall kind of thing, and it really came out neat. I did a demo carving this that'll be on be posted just within the next half hour or so. But this is what it looks like when it's all carved. It's pretty cool. I carved it in such a way that I could color those fruits on there. But I sanded this, no problem at all, and it never moved on me a bit. Just on the pad, I didn't have to have it blocked at the end. But obviously, with smaller stuff, you might want to put a block on the end. So let's get into some questions. Dad is taking a nap right now, probably.
No, he's at his computer.
Is he? Okay. So he'll be back eventually, hopefully. So if we have any questions out there, let me know.
All right, let's see. Hold on, I gotta go all the way to the top.
All the way to the top.
All right.
Was there questions?
I'm trying to see if there were questions on the other.
On this, I just planed a piece down with my DeWalt thickness planer. I didn't want it to be real thick and real three-dimensional on a big sign, so I did plane it down pretty thin, and then I just notched the corners with my drill press and hole saw, which we have a couple videos on that, I think, and I think I'm happy with it. I think it came out pretty good.
So Frank Jenkins has a question. He says he can no longer get the black primer like you've got. Any next suggestion?
Can't get the black primer. Frank, have you tried ordering it online? Because I would think that there would be somebody around. You might be able, because most of the time the ink, the Marsh ink, almost everybody buys that online. So I would think that you should be able to buy it online somewhere. But that if you can't, then there may be other primers, a different manufacturer that that makes a primer that will work. These are just the only two that I've used. But I would stay away from paint. If you're going to use paint, what seems to be the kind of the synopsis or the theory is stay away from gloss, go with flat, and that tends to have less properties that would allow it to bleed into the grain.
Okay, Bill Hopp says even the cedar fencing is pressure treated at Home Depot in Minnesota. Any suggestions where to get untreated? Wow,
pressure treated cedar fencing. That's the first time I've heard about that, Bill. Again, I would. I can't tell you in Minnesota, unfortunately. I just would look for bare wood, whether it's pine or northern white cedar. I know there's a lot of that up there, but I would try and find some stuff that's not pressure treated. I wouldn't use pressure treated lumber.
Okay. Deborah Oceanbine, is there danger of chipping when you carve and sand those tiny letters?
In carving, yes. I've never really had any chipping issues in sanding. If I suppose you could, if your sander goes kind of sideways on you and it kind of grabs or tips a little bit, and the edge of the belt should happen to catch in there in the middle of the A or the middle of the R or something. But if I have chipping happen, normally it's going to happen when I'm carving. So you just want to go the opposite direction, go in a counterclockwise direction rather than clockwise.
Rocky Worsham says he gets his ink from Amazon.
Okay.
Or HomeDepot.com, I guess, for the wood.
For wood? Oh.
I'm just reading what is written.
Okay.
Greg Bybee says can't get Marsh green ink on Amazon without buying a dozen at a time.
Okay. I got a solution for you. Call Carlson Systems. They're down in Phoenix. I've got their phone number. Send me an email. And with Carlson Systems, you can buy one can at a time, whether it's black or color or whatever. When I buy cases at a time, I generally buy from ZoroTools.com. Their cases seem cheaper than most of the places out there, and they have free shipping. And well, they used to. It's been a while since I bought it, but they used to have free shipping on anything over $50, and a case of ink came to just over $50, so you get free shipping here in the U.S. But Carlson Systems, if you want to send me an email, eric@makeawwoodsign.com, I will email you back with their phone number.
All right. Marcos Contreras says, can I use birch plywood for larger signs?
I tend to stay away from plywood. A lot of different issues, although I haven't used any plywood in the last several years. But plywood, this is birch plywood actually. Plywood has glues and stuff in it that really is tough on router bits. At least that's been my experience in the past. It could be that the glues are different these days, but I'd rather laminate boards together. And but a lot of guys are using plywood, so you certainly can. I would try it and see if you like it. I would, try a small piece of it, start carving it, and see how it reacts to your bits and how you like it. The other problem with plywood is that when you sand it, if it's a really thin surface veneer and you sand through that top veneer, then you've got a really goofy looking grain, which in some cases can be great if you're doing like a rustic looking sign, like something that you want to look 100 years old. Then sanding through the veneer, actually I've seen it done to where it actually gives a really interesting distressed look. That's not my thing, but if that's what you're after, then the birch plywood might work well for you.
All right. Donald Dennis says Grainer, Grain, Granger, excuse me. Granger.com sells Marsh ink.
Really? I didn't know. Granger is huge. I didn't know. I wonder if they sell in one can at a time.
I don't know. Darren Lindsay says EagleAmerica.com has all colors Marsh ink by the can.
Yeah. Yeah, they got the idea from us.
Okay. Well, I am trying to find out.
Eagle America, by the way, just in regards to that last comment that I made, Eagle America, they actually sell our layout letters. They actually, on their website, they sell our layout letters and I think our videos, our DVDs. They sell our DVDs as well. But they never had real sign making supplies until, and they actually sell our profile bit too. Our profile bit, they actually made for us at one point. We gave them the design. It was Dad's design. You can go back. We got a big video on it, but you can go back and look. But they actually made our profile bit and to Dad's specs. They special made it for us, and we bought it from them. And actually, we buy it from them now. They give us a really good price if we buy thousands of dollars worth at a time. But you can find our profile bit actually on Eagle America .com, and because once they started making them for us, then they also added them to their line, so they're selling them on their website, and I think it's comparable price. I think they sell for about the same price we do, but that's what they do, and it's not a problem at all. But Eagle America never sold really ink. They didn't know about ink. They didn't know about layout letters. They didn't know about any of that stuff until they kind of partnered with us, and we told them about it. But anyway, welcome back, Dad.
Okay.
Did you have a good nap?
Yeah, I had a good nap.
Good.
I want to just say something when you're done. I just want to say something about what I was going to talk about originally on cordless routers.
Well, you can do it now.
Okay.
We're kind of in between questions.
Well,
so.
yeah.
What's the matter?
Oh, we're having technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Well, on the cordless router, there's two of them on the market. Rigid makes one and Makita makes one. I'm going to buy one or the other of them. I just haven't decided for sure. But it comes as a tool only for like $110, $120. And then you have to spend another $100 to buy the battery and charger, which is fairly expensive. But if you're going to do some kind of a remote operation where you're going out to a craft show or someplace where you don't have power, these things would be ideal. I'm going to make a video as soon as I get mine. I'm going to make a video on it to give you a better idea of just how good it is. But Makita, it's got a pretty good name. Rigid has an excellent name. I have a lot of Rigid tools, and so I'm really kind of high on Rigid. They're both in the same price range, around $115 for the router, the tool alone, and then another $100, $99 or $100 for the battery and charger. So, but I will make a video on that when I get them and we get into it. It won't be on an LTS because this is the last one for the year, but I will make a video on it that we will post as soon as I get it and try it out and see how it works. But it's
we'll do a product review then. What you think of it?
It's going to be a product review, and I'll give you links to where you can go and get it if you want it. But whether I would use it for normal sign carving when the DWP 611 is available, I don't know. But for a remote where you don't have power, obviously you can go up and set up on your roof and carve a sign without power if you want to. Well, so that's just something to consider. But we'll get you more information on that later.
The issue with the biggest issue with that I see is that if you don't have power, then what are you going to do for sanding? Because I'm not sure they even make cordless sanders, but they might.
They might make cordless sanders. I don't know.
Right. But you might figure something else out.
When I do the video on the cordless router, I'll let you know if there's a cordless sander available, and I'd be really surprised if there wasn't. But
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll get to that when I make the video.
We'll give it a fair evaluation. We'll try it and give it a fair evaluation.
All right. Lon Oric wants to know, do you put finish coats on all signs before painting color?
Yes, almost always. Almost. But the reason that I always did it in the past is the finish that I was using up until a few months ago was either for exterior signs really was the Helmsman Spar urethane or Varathane back in the old days, back in the 70s and 80s. It was Varathane. It has an amber color to it, so I would always put that on. I would put my finish on first, and then I would put my paint on because I didn't want the finish to change the color of the paint that I was putting on. Now, back in the old days, back when it was Varathane, they actually made Varathane in colors. So when we originally started doing that way back when, and then we got away from it, but way back then.
1970.
Yeah, in 1970, we put a full, Dad would put a full finish coat on the sign, 2, 3, 4 coats on the sign, and then he would get the colored Varathane, which it was the same product, but it was colored, and put that on top. So it just made more sense because it was that same product. Well, that's the same process that I started using, and then we got away from finishing signs for 20 years or whatever.
For 20 years, I still don't finish signs.
Yeah, but for me, when I started up in Oatman, I wanted to finish on it because it just brings out the grain, and I wanted something quick and easy, and that's why I did the Krylon.
Well, yeah, and I want to say one thing too. I had a couple of questions just recently about lacquer. Somebody wanted to know if they could use the clear lacquer that you get at Walmart or at Lowe's. If you're going to use lacquer, don't figure on putting a sign outside because it won't last. Lacquer is for an interior use, like fine furniture and stuff like that. Lacquer, it really looks nice, but if you're making anything that's going outside, don't use lacquer as a finish. Use a urethane, some sort of a urethane, or a spar varnish is for exterior. Lacquer is not intended for exterior.
Okay, Rocky Worsham says Ryobi 1 Plus cordless brushless belt sander P450 18 volt.
Okay, there we've got a brushless belt sander.
Thanks, Rocky.
So when I make the video on the brushless routers, I'll also have some information on the. In fact, I may just go ahead and buy one, see how they work. Yeah. I'll make information on the brushless sander as well. So you have a remote operation where you don't have a bunch of cords around.
Rocky, let me ask you: do you have one? If you have one, does anybody out there have a cordless sander, belt sander that they're using? And if you do, what do you think of them?
Yeah, and send us some information on them.
Okay. All right.
So do the wrap up.
Okay. Well, we're just about done here. Again, as soon as I get done, I'm going to post the video where I carved this. You can see a demo of me carving that. And that is the template of the month. It's available now on the website.
It's on the website, yeah.
It's on the website. So if you're not a premium member, then you can purchase that little template. It's about 3.5 tall. That's generally what size we do them. And it's a fun carve. It really is. It's a fun carve. All you do is just carve the lines that are there, and it looks kind of cool once it's all colored up. So good stuff for fall. There will be a video on Monday. That's something that we're planning to do kind of from the road. We've got an idea. And then Wednesday, there's going to be a video for Wednesday. There's going to be a video for Wednesday and Friday. So no, there won't be any hitch in constant videos, except there'll be an extra one for the YouTube version of what we're doing right now. Will be posted sometime later in the week because it takes a while for it to upload and edit and all that.
Hold on. Frank Jenkins wants to know if you've ever applied sanding sealer with the critter gun.
Oh yeah, I've done that on a couple of videos, I think, Frank. But yeah, absolutely, that's the way I apply it now. I don't use a brush anymore for that. I put it on with a critter gun. Okay,
Brian Costal, in your experience, when you finish your signs first, then paint, how long will the paint hold? How long will the paint hold up in the weather?
Well, depends on the paint you use. If you use a really good exterior paint, I've got signs that I made 20 years ago that every once in a while I drive by a place where I see a sign that I made 20, 25 years ago, and they still look pretty good. Yeah. So it depends on the quality of the paint that you buy, not how long it's going to last. And we don't know about Florida. We don't know about some of the humidity in some of the different places. But I'm talking about California and Arizona, and we've got just about everything you could imagine out here as far as weather. So if you use a good quality, it'll last for years outside.
And that's pretty much right in line with what I'd say. I've never had a customer yet come back and say, hey, the paint peeled off. It hasn't happened yet.
Okay, Patrick W. Harnish Sr. says, I just want to say thank you for everything you guys do. I just did my first sign for a company, and now they want a 3x3 sign pictures to come.
Well, that's great.
Fantastic.
That's why we do what we do.
That's excellent.
You know, it's obvious that we can't make signs for everybody all over the world, but we can teach other people how to make signs. And literally, we've got people that have learned our system of routing signs all over the world. I get emails from other countries and all over the United States and Canada, and that's what we do. We get a great deal of pleasure out of a comment like that. That because of what we do, we've taught somebody to be able to do something to help somebody else out, and it's
really cool.
satisfying for us.
It's really cool.
All right. Zach says, do you have any dust collector suggestions? Yes, a dust and a broom and a granddaughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
A dustpan, broom, and a granddaughter.
That's right.
Or a grandson.
Yeah, we don't do the dust collection thing. I don't have anything against it. I think it's a good idea. If you are in a situation where you really need it, then you know, I don't think it's
I had the
bad
state of
idea.
California come into my shop at one time and tell me I had to put in a $20,000 dust collection system. And what I told them, I can't repeat on a video, but
You can imagine.
yeah, I can. You know, I practically threw the guy out, physically, literally. This was back when I was younger.
Back when you were ornery.
Back when I was.
Well, you're still honored.
But we don't use any kind of a dust collection system. Where I have nothing against them.
He says I'm confused because Zach now says Kim. I said I need it, so maybe he was Kim. And anyway,
You was telling Kim?
yeah, I don't know.
That's
I'm confused.
Andy's wife.
Andy
Yeah.
and Kim, yeah.
So anyway, on dust collection systems, we don't use them. We don't have anything against them. And if you are someplace where you need them, where you can't have the sawdust flying around, go ahead and install one. But as far as I'm concerned personally, I'm not spending that kind of money on a system that I don't need.
But if you're in an area where you need them, now I have tried in the past, way back in the 70s, actually hooking up a vacuum hose to my router. I tried every conceivable. I tried every conceivable way to do it and be comfortable with it, and I never found it.
If you are a good do-it-yourselfer, you can build a bench like this, cut the top of it out, or have it where you can drill a bunch of holes in it, and then somehow have a vacuum hooked up to the side where it's causing a downdraft, and it'll trap about probably 75 or 80% of your sawdust. So if you want to build something like that, those are kind of neat. I've seen some that were built that really worked out well.
Yeah, actually, the video that we posted, I don't know, a month or two ago, Dan Santolucido, when we went up to his place, in his little trailer, he had built a really cool little downdraft deal where he had a thing at the back with the vacuum hose hooked up to it, and he actually had one set up for his sander on this end of the bench, and then had so if you guys are interested in that, go check out that video where Vicky and I did that. He's the guy that made the Adirondack. Adirondack. Yeah, I know how to say that word, but I was rushing through it. Yeah. Anyway, Dan has a really cool little vacuum capture setup in his little trailer. It's really cool.
And I've seen a few on Instructables. I've seen a few, and some of them look pretty neat. I just have never felt like it was worth my time. I'd rather take a nap.
All right, Larry Broom. Larry, send me an email. We'll talk. The 1/2-inch letters are the same as the 1-inch letters. Same cost, same price as the 1-inch letters.
Yeah.
Okay, so to do a wrap up.
Yes.
No LTS, November or December. They'll get them up again January 30th.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a big project coming up.
Yes, starting maybe next Friday, but sometime in the next week to 2 weeks, we're going to be doing another big project where I'm just going to go straight through them, kind of like we did with the Rolling Hills sign, where we did 6 or 7 videos, and I think I can probably get it knocked out in about 4 or 5 videos, and we're just going to go straight through it and get it done. So that's coming up within
I'll
a
be
week or
making
2.
one on the cordless router and maybe that cordless sander as well.
And
Yes.
keep watching, because we're going to be having our yearly Christmas drawing in December. So
Really?
yes.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that.
I know you don't.
See,
Anyway.
I learn just like you guys do.
So
She's the boss.
something special in the first week of
Well,
December.
it makes the queen happy, and if the queen's happy, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, are we just about out?
About ready to go.
Okay, you guys. So thanks again for watching. Give us a, post your stuff on Facebook. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. But Vicki and I are hitting the road, and I'm gonna go make that video on this, make that live here in just the next few minutes. So thanks again, everybody tuning in, and we will see you guys on Monday.
Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.